Our whole relationship with time, it feels like it's really at a turning point. Like we're standing on the edge of its second huge transformation.
Right. The second great severance, as some might call it.
Exactly. The first one, that was centuries ago, right?
Uh-huh.
With the mechanical clock. It sort of pulled time away from nature, didn't it? Away from the sun, the seasons.
Yeah, detached it from the pulse of the earth, really made it abstract, linear,
Yeah.
uniform.
And now, here comes the second one. AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And this time, it feels like it's detaching time from us, from our own conscious state.
It's a really profound shift, yeah, absolutely. Welcome, everyone, to The Arrow and the Algorithm, a sociological inquiry into time, culture, and the human future in the age of AI.
Welcome.
And this deep dive, it isn't just about, how fast computers are getting.
No.
It's about getting under the skin of how humanity experiences time, how we value it, looking at that whole journey from really ancient practices right up to, well, right now, the age of AI.
So our mission today is to really unpack that evolution. We want to look at how abstract time was even invented in the first place. Then compare how different cultures see time, how that affects well-being, and then, tackle the really weird alien nature of AI's time and what it's doing to work, to leisure.
And finally, look at ways people are pushing back, forms of resistance that are popping up, making a case, really, for stepping in proactively to try and preserve these human rhythms.
Right. We think by the end of this, you'll have a really solid grasp of this moment in history.
Yeah.
We've tried to pull out the key insights, the surprising bits, those aha moments.
Yeah, hopefully helping you see what it all means for, your day-to-day life.
Okay, so let's rewind. Way back. Before clocks were ticking everywhere, time was just, it was life, wasn't it?
Completely embedded,
Yeah.
woven into the cycles of the cosmos, the Earth.
It's hard to even imagine. Like, you think about Ice Age hunters, maybe 20,000 years ago, scratching lines on bones, maybe tracking the moon.
That's the theory. It shows how deep that connection runs. Time wasn't something you had or lost.
He just lived it.
Exactly. You lived in it. It was concrete, observable, often quite spiritual.
Like in ancient Egypt, their calendar started with the moon, right?
They did. But then they noticed Sirius, the star, rising with the sun every 365 days, and that lined up perfectly with the Nile floods, which were, everything.
Life itself.
Right. So around 3100 BCE, they shifted to this amazing 365-day solar calendar. And their shadow clocks, their sundials, they weren't just for checking the time. They were sacred tools, aligning society with the gods, with the harvest.
The Mesopotamia, Sumerians, Babylonians, they were doing incredible things too. They had a lunar calendar, 354 days. But the thing that blows my mind is their base 60 system, sexagesimal.
Ah, yes, our 60-second minute, 60-minute hour. That's their legacy.
It's wild. Their whole math was built around 60, like ours is around 10.
Yeah.
And it's still here.
It outlasted empires, quite literally. And you can't forget the Mayans either. Central America, astonishing astronomers.
Oh, definitely. 2 calendar.
Yeah, a 260-day sacred one and a 365-day solar one. Based on incredibly precise observations, sun, moon, Venus. And it was all tied into their cosmology, their whole understanding of the universe creation. Time was a story for them.
So those early gadgets, sundials, water clocks,
Wow.
clepsydras,
Clepsydras, yeah. Literally water thieves.
they ran on nature, sun, water flow. So the key takeaway seems to be time back then was cyclical, or maybe spiral.
Defined by recurring things, yeah. Seasons, harvests, rituals, tied to place, tied to practice. It just wasn't this separate, abstract thing we think of now.
Okay, so when did that big shift happen? When did we move away from nature?
Well, that really kicks off in medieval Europe. Around the 13th century, the big invention was the verge escapement mechanism.
Right, the clock tech.
The absolute key. It's this ingenious little device that lets you regulate how energy is released from a weight or spring. It creates that steady tick-tock that enabled the first fully mechanical clocks.
These weren't like bedside clocks. They were huge, right? Public things.
Oh, monumental, often in church towers. And the bells.
Yeah.
They weren't just marking time, they were imposing a new rhythm, a unified rhythm on the whole town.
So for the first time, something man-made, not the sun, was telling everyone what to do when.
Pretty much, structuring the day. Then fast forward to the mid-17th century. Big leap in accuracy.
Huygens.
Christian Huygens, yeah. His pendulum clock, 1656. Suddenly, accuracy jumps from maybe losing hours a day to just minutes.
Wow.
And that's when precise timekeeping starts moving from the town square into, wealthier private homes, makes personal schedules actually possible.
And then more innovations, portable stuff.
Right. The balance wheel, coiled spring,
Hmm.
leading to pocket watches, big status symbols, symbols of discipline, too.
But the real world changer, the one for ships,
A Harrison.
John Harrison. His H4 marine chronometer, 1761. An absolute masterpiece. It solved the longitude problem. Before that, sailors knew their latitude, but longitude was guesswork.
Which made navigation incredibly dangerous and held back global trade. Harrison's clock changed everything. It allowed ships to know their position accurately anywhere on Earth.
So what's the big picture here with these mechanical clocks?
The crucial thing is they abstracted time. They cut it loose from nature. Sun, water, irrelevant. They created their own time. Uniform, divisible, totally artificial.
Externalized it.
Exactly. Time became this neutral, objective grid you could measure things against. And crucially, you could monetize it, essential for capitalism taking off. It was a complete break from nature's rhythm.
And this abstraction, it just kept going until it covered the whole world.
Pretty much. That's the 19th century story. Standard time. Because the very tech clocks enabled railways, the telegraph started breaking under the old system.
The old system being local time. Like every town just set its clock by the sun.
Yeah, local solar time. Imagine trying to run a railroad across a continent like North America.
Nice life.
Absolute chaos. A train journey of a few hundred miles might cross dozens of different local times. Schedules were a nightmare. Constant confusion.
Okay, I can see the problem. Someone had to fix it.
Enter Sir Sanford Fleming, Canadian railway engineer. He became a huge advocate for a worldwide system, a global standard.
And she got it done.
His campaigning was key. It led to the International Meridian Conference, Washington, D.C., 1884. 27 nations hashing it out.
And they agreed.
They did. On 24 time zones, each 15 degrees of longitude wide, all centered on Greenwich, England. That gave us UTC, Coordinated Universal Time, basically the system we still use.
So that was it. The final nail in the coffin for natural time?
In a way, yeah. The final victory of abstract mechanical time, one single rationalized time for the whole global economy.
And it shows this loop, right? Tech shapes time, time shapes society, society needs new tech, which reshapes time again.
It's a classic socio-technical feedback loop.
Yeah.
And AI, well, AI looks like the next big turn of that wheel, maybe the most radical one yet.
But even with this global standard time, UTC and all that, we don't all experience time the same way, do we? Cultures differ massively.
Oh, absolutely. Edward T. Hall's work here is foundational. His idea of monochronic versus polychronic cultures, it shows time isn't just objective clock time, it's a really deep cultural construct, shapes everything.
Okay, break those down for us. Monochronic first.
Sure. Monochronic cultures, think North America, Northern and Central Europe, tend to see time as linear, like a road or a ribbon you can cut up. Tangible.
Segmentable.
Exactly. You do one thing at a time. Schedules are really important, often more important than immediate relationships. Values. Punctuality, efficiency, productivity.
Time is money.
That's the classic monochronic mantra. Yeah, like a highway, stay in your lane, keep moving, don't block traffic.
And polychronic.
Polychronic cultures, common in the Mediterranean, Latin America, Africa, much of Asia, see time very differently, much more fluid. Less like a road, more like maybe a central point where relationships and events all converge. So multiple things can happen at once. Interruptions are normal, expected. Flexibility is key, rigid schedules less so. What's really valued is completing the human interaction, maintaining social harmony, not just ticking off the task on time.
More like a marketplace. Lots going on, people weaving in and out.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. The flow is more organic, less regimented.
And these aren't just surface differences in scheduling. They go deeper.
Much deeper. They often reflect underlying worldviews. The monochronic view aligns pretty well with, say, the linear history and Judeo-Christian traditions, creation, progression, final judgment.
A clear beginning and end.
Right. Whereas polychronic views often resonate more with cyclical traditions you find in Eastern philosophies, like samsara, the cycle of birth, death, rebirth, time folding back on itself.
And this plays out in real life, like in business or just daily stuff.
Definitely. Huge implications for international business. Misunderstandings are common. Even basic cognitive stuff seems affected. There was a study comparing Austrian and Mongolian students. The Austrians, more monochronic, heavily relied on how close events were in time to figure out cause and effect. For the Mongolians, more polychronic, that temporal closeness cue was much less important.
Oh, wow. So culture literally shapes how you perceive cause and effect through the lens of time.
It seems so. It's not just values, it's perception.
Okay, so our relationship with time, culturally, personally, it really shapes our well-being. Let's look at some concrete examples. The U.S., very monochronic. How does that look in terms of work?
Well, the numbers are pretty stark. Americans work, on average, around 1,767 hours a year, according to OECD data.
That sounds like a lot.
It is, compared to many other developed nations. And there's no federal law requiring paid vacation. The average worker only takes about 10 days, even if they're offered more. Some take none at all.
It's that live-to-work idea.
Very much so. Now, contrast that with many European countries. They've often built respect for non-work time right into the system.
Like the EU directive.
Exactly. The Working Time Directive mandates a maximum 48-hour week, minimum 4 weeks paid vacation. And culturally, think of Germany's Feierabend.
Ah, the end of the workday.
Yeah, it signifies a real transition. Shutting off work, moving to personal time, discouraging emails and calls after hours. It's culturally ingrained.
And you see this in other cultural models, too. Hofstede's work.
Yeah, Hofstede's dimensions offer another lens. He talked about masculine versus feminine cultures.
Okay.
So masculine cultures, like Japan or Germany in his model, tend to prioritize assertiveness, career advancement, money, which can contribute to things like karoshi death from overwork in Japan.
Grim, yeah.
Whereas feminine cultures, like the Netherlands or Norway, tend to prioritize quality of life, relationships, well-being. That's where you're more likely to see things like widespread 4-day work weeks or really generous parental leave policies.
So the cultural values translate directly into policy and work habits.
Absolutely. And psychologically, Philip Zimbardo's research on time perspective is relevant here, too.
What's that?
He found that people with a balanced perspective, meaning they have a positive view of their past, enjoy the present healthily, but are also focused on future goals, tend to be happier.
Makes sense.
But interestingly, culture mediates this. Like, a negative past view is particularly bad for well-being in Poland or Japan. A positive past view is really important in Spain. So our cultural background shapes how our personal timeline affects us.
Okay, so culture shapes our time, but there's this other feeling, almost universal now.
Yeah.
The sense that time is just speeding up.
Ah, yes. Temporal acceleration. The quickening of time. It's a very common 21st century feeling. You hear it all the time, right? Where did the year go?
All the time. Is it just us getting older?
That's part of it, psychologically. As we age, we have fewer brand new experiences, so our brains encode fewer distinct memories, making time seem faster in retrospect.
Okay.
But it's much more than that. Technology is a huge driver. Constant connectivity, notifications, email, social media, it all creates this sense of urgency, compressing time.
Always needing to respond now.
Yeah, exactly. And culturally, we're still caught in that relentless drive for productivity, efficiency, always rushing.
Which leads to this idea of time poverty.
Precisely. Cassie Holmes defines it beautifully. The sense of not having enough time to do what you need to do or want to do.
Then it's common.
Very. Nearly half of Americans report feeling time poor. Think about it, skipping exercise, grabbing unhealthy food, putting off seeing friends, delaying doctor's appointments. Because you just feel swamped.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that on some level.
And the consequences are real. It hits physical health. It hits mental health, stress, burnout, anxiety, lower life satisfaction. It even damages the social fabric. People who feel time poor are less likely to help others, volunteer, invest in relationships.
So it's not just a personal failing, like I'm bad at time management.
No, that's the crucial insight. It's largely a structural outcome. It's baked into our socio-technical system, which is geared for constant acceleration. The digital age just put it on steroids, creating this 24/7 always-on pressure.
A systemic problem needing systemic solutions, not just life hacks.
Exactly. Individual coping strategies only go so far. And it really sets the stage for understanding the impact of AI, because AI operates on a timescale that makes our current acceleration look quaint.
Right. So AI, this is the second great severance you mentioned, detaching time from human cognition.
That's the idea. Think about how we experience time as a continuous flow, right? Subjective, colored by memory, emotion, what we expect to happen next. Kairos, the Greeks called it opportune, qualitative time. For AI, especially current AI, time is just data. Fragmented timestamps in enormous data sets. It doesn't feel the flow.
Like snapshots instead of a movie.
That's a good way to put it. It can process information from the past, present, even simulate hypothetical futures, but it's all dispassionate data points. Current large language models, for instance, they don't have an internal clock. They essentially black out between prompts. They exist only in the moment of computation.
That's deeply weird. Alien.
It is. It leads to what we call algorithmic temporalities. ways of organizing reality based on the AI's fragmented, data-driven sense of time.
And looking ahead, quantum computing.
Well, that could blow it wide open. Some speculate quantum systems might treat time not as linear, but as a whole spectrum of probabilities, analyzing possible pasts and futures simultaneously. A temporality completely beyond our human grasp.
Okay, my head hurts a little, but the point is, AI time isn't just faster human time. It's fundamentally different.
Qualitatively different, yes. And these algorithmic temporalities are already starting to reshape our social lives, especially around work.
Which brings us to the big debate. The future of work. Automation versus augmentation. Utopia or dystopia?
It's the central question, isn't it? Two main paths seem possible. Automation, where AI just replaces human tasks entirely. Or augmentation, where AI works alongside humans, enhancing our skills.
The utopian view sounds nice. AI does the boring stuff, we do creative, meaningful work, maybe shorter work weeks.
That's the dream. Proponents point to historical examples like the PC, arguing technology ultimately creates more jobs than it destroys. The productivity gains could lead to a leisure dividend.
Could. But then there's the other side, the warnings.
Yeah, thinkers like Harari or Bostrom raise serious flags. Mass unemployment, especially in white-collar knowledge work. The potential creation of a useless class in purely economic terms.
Whose skills are just no longer needed.
Right. Worsening inequality, wealth concentration, and the pressure to compete with tireless AI could just devalue human labor further, leading to more precarious work, maybe social unrest.
Is there any counter-argument there? Could AI maybe make work fairer in some ways, reduce bias?
It's sometimes argued, yeah, that AI could apply rules more consistently, remove human subjectivity from certain decisions, like maybe initial screening or performance metrics.
Potentially.
Potentially, but often the biases are just baked into the data the AI is trained on, so it ends up replicating or even amplifying them. And the core issue remains, AI isn't just a spreadsheet. It could fundamentally alter the relationships between labor, capital, and time itself. Which path we go down really depends on the policies we choose now.
And besides the big job displacement question, there's something happening right now, more subtly. Algorithmic management.
Yes, this is already widespread and growing fast, using AI systems to directly manage workers, assigning tasks, tracking performance in real time, giving automated feedback, ratings.
Even firing people.
In some cases, yes, with very little human oversight. It started in the gig economy, Uber drivers, delivery couriers.
Right.
But now it's moving rapidly into traditional jobs, call centers, warehouses, logistics, even software development, writing.
Okay. And the appeal for companies is obvious.
Efficiency, cost-cutting, standardization, control. The benefits from a purely organizational perspective are clear.
But the human cost.
Significant. Studies show increased stress, anxiety, burnout. Workers feel constantly monitored, pressured. It erodes autonomy, creativity, and the black box problem is huge.
Meaning you don't know why the algorithm made a decision.
Exactly. You're managed by opaque logic you can't understand, can't appeal. It fosters powerlessness, a sense of injustice, can even break down teamwork and trust.
So this is where AI's alien time really hits the ground.
Precisely. It imposes that relentless, hyper-efficient machine temporality directly onto human life. Workers are forced to adapt their own biological, psychological rhythms to the demands of the algorithm. The workplace becomes this contested terrain over the very pace and rhythm of life, a push towards perpetual machine-driven productivity.
Okay, so faced with this acceleration, this algorithmic pressure,
Yeah.
how do we fight back? Are there ways to reclaim a more human pace?
There are. We're seeing counter-movements and policy ideas emerge. Things pushing back against the faster is always better mentality. The slow movement is a good example on the cultural front.
Slow food, slow cities, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It started with slow food in Italy in the 80s, protesting a McDonald's opening, but it's broadened out. Slow fashion, slow travel, even slow science.
What's the core idea? Just do everything slowly?
Not necessarily. It's more about being deliberate, thoughtful. As Carl Honore puts it, savoring the hours and minutes rather than just counting them, finding the right speed for each activity, living better, not just faster.
Okay, that's the cultural shift. What about concrete policies? The 4-day work week seems to be gaining traction.
Huge momentum globally, lots of pilot programs, often run by groups like 4-Day Week Global, and the results are really promising.
What do they show?
Dramatic improvements in employee well-being, mental health, physical health, lower stress, less burnout, higher job satisfaction, and this is often with the 100-80-100 model
100% pay, 80% hour.
for 100% productivity.
Right.
And remarkably, that productivity part often holds up. Companies don't see a drop in output. Sometimes it even increases.
So it's good for workers and the company.
That's what many trials suggest. Retention improves, recruitment gets easier. Most companies that try it end up making it permanent. It challenges the assumption that more hours automatically equals more output.
Okay, what else? The right to disconnect.
Yes, this is more legally focused. Laws giving workers the right to not engage with work communications, emails, calls, messages outside of their agreed working hours.
Tackling that always-on culture.
Directly. It's a response to how smartphones and remote work have blurred the lines. France was an early adopter, but now you see similar laws in Spain, Italy, Belgium, parts of Canada, Australia. It's about setting boundaries.
So these are all different ways, cultural, corporate policy, legal to push back against unsustainable acceleration.
Exactly. They show a growing recognition globally that something has to give, that we need to consciously redesign our relationship with time to put human well-being back at the center.
But these solutions, slow movement, 4-day week,
Yeah.
to disconnect, they seem mostly focused on the individual or the company level. Is there anything bigger, more structural?
That's a great question. And it brings us to a really interesting, maybe controversial idea. Looking back at historical precedents for society-wide interventions, specifically Sunday closing laws or blue laws.
Ah, right. Not being able to buy certain things on a Sunday. They had religious roots.
Originally, yes, stemming from colonial America, aiming to enforce Sabbath observance, prohibiting commerce, sometimes recreation.
But didn't they stick around even as society got less religious?
They did, and this is the fascinating part. The justification shifted. In the mid-20th century, the U.S. Supreme Court actually upheld these laws, but on secular grounds.
Really? How?
In cases like McGowan v. Maryland in 1961, the court basically said even if they started for religious reasons, the laws serve a valid public purpose now, providing a uniform collective day of rest
For everyone.
for everyone.
Really?
For health, safety, recreation, general well-being, it was framed as a public good, ensuring all workers, regardless of their faith, got a break, a shared pause.
Okay, that's interesting. So what happened when they were mostly repealed, starting in the 60s and 70s?
Well, some economists, like Jonathan Gruber at MIT, studied this. They found correlations between the repeal of blue laws and a few things. One was a decline in religious attendance, maybe expected. Also, a decline in charitable giving, a possible indicator of weakening social capital.
Okay.
But more surprisingly, they found repeal was associated with a significant increase in things like alcohol consumption and illegal drug use, particularly among people who used to attend religious services.
Suggesting that shared day off serves some kind of social or psychological function beyond religion.
That's one interpretation. It suggests that having this mandated, synchronized downtime, this unstructured, non-commercial time, was valuable for social cohesion and well-being in ways we maybe didn't appreciate.
So how does this connect back to AI and algorithmic time?
The core problem with algorithmic management, with the always-on digital culture, is its relentless 247 individualized nature. It isolates us in machine time.
Right.
Blue laws, whatever their origins or flaws, had one unique strength,
Yeah.
their collectivity. They created a shared, predictable pause for the whole community. Everyone stopped, or mostly stopped, together.
A synchronized rhythm.
Exactly. It's the structural opposite of the constant, fragmented, asynchronous demands of algorithmic time. It's like a societal firewall against perpetual availability. It forces a pause, embeds a human rhythm.
So suggesting we bring back blue laws,
Yeah.
that feels unlikely.
Maybe not literally blue laws with all their old baggage, but the principle, the idea of consciously creating collective synchronized downtime through policy, that's the powerful insight. It's a sophisticated structural response to a systemic problem. It's about choosing to re-embed a shared human rhythm into society itself as a buffer against the machine.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've gone on quite a journey from time lived in nature
To time measured by the clock, abstracted, standardized,
to the huge cultural differences in how we value and experience time.
leading to modern time poverty, that feeling of never having enough.
And now facing this profound shift with AI, introducing this alien machine-driven time through things like algorithmic management.
It really feels like the core challenge for us now in the 21st century is managing this collision. The collision between human time, our time, biological, subjective, social, and machine time, efficient, fragmented, relentless.
And doing nothing, just letting it happen. That seems like a bad option.
Yeah. Passivity means basically accepting the algorithmic timescale. Optimize for pure efficiency, sure, but likely leading to more burnout, more isolation, a loss of our autonomy.
So we have a choice.
Hmm.
We can either just drift into that future, or we can try to actively shape it, make conscious decisions about the kind of temporal world we actually want to live in.
It's not about being anti-technology, it's about being pro-human.
So what does that look like? What's the path forward?
It seems like a two-pronged approach makes sense. First, keep pushing for those individual and company-level solutions. More 4-day-week experiments, stronger right to disconnect laws, things that give people more control over their own schedules.
Right, prong one.
But second, and this is maybe the bolder step, we need to seriously explore policies for collective synchronized pauses, reviving that core idea of a shared day of rest, but in a modern, secular way. Finding ways to legislate for collective downtime, to embed that human rhythm structurally.
So individual control and collective rhythm, both are needed.
Both seem crucial to counter the full spectrum of algorithmic times effects.
All right. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to chew on.
Go for it.
Maybe we need to get better at consciously valuing, even protecting, the things that aren't efficient, the slow things, the disconnected moments, the unoptimized parts of life.
Because it's often in those spaces, isn't it? The long, meandering conversation, the unhurried meal with family, the walk with no destination, the day with no fixed schedule.
That's where the really human stuff happens. Connection,
Yeah.
creativity, reflection, well-being.
Exactly. So the challenge is ensuring that the future of time, even in the age of AI, remains fundamentally a human one.